Power for EV-1 and EV-2 are on.
Good morning from Mission Control Center in Houston, Texas, in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, where teams on the ground are looking live, as you are now, on NASA Plus, as two NASA astronauts prepare to venture outside the International Space Station and begin a spacewalk to support International Space Station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. Today's U.S. spacewalk is spacewalk number 91 on the docket, and that includes NASA astronaut and flight engineer Nick Hague, who you see in front of you with the red stripes on the pants, and commander of Expedition 72, the current expedition aboard the International Space Station, and Suni Williams. Nick Hague, dubbed EVA-91 throughout today's broadcast. And again, he will be wearing those red stripes, as you see in that bottom left-hand corner, to indicate. And for Suni Williams, the commander of Expedition 72, she will be dubbed EV-2. The two astronauts are currently halfway through their pre-breathing techniques in preparation for today's spacewalk to prepare themselves and avoid decompression sickness by removing nitrogen from the bloodstream. And that avoids what they would call the bends or decompression sickness as they leave the high pressure system of the International Space Station into the vacuum of space. And taking a look at the statistics going into today's spacewalk for Nick Hague, this will be his fourth spacewalk. Previously conducted his 3 for a total of 19 hours and 56 minutes. And for Commander of Expedition 72, Suni Williams, this will be her 8th, as her previous 7 would have her go at 50 hours and 40 minutes. This is the 273rd spacewalk in support of International Space Station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades, and the first spacewalk of 2025, and the second for Expedition 72. After the pre-breathe, the two astronauts will be removed from their attachments on the walls there of the equipment lock inside the Quest airlock of the space station. Their safer units, or the simplified aid for EVA rescue needed in case of emergencies, will then be attached, and that's where Butch Wilmore and Don Pettit will come in and help them assist before eventually moving into the crew lock, which you see back behind you, where the two astronauts will venture in. The hatch will close, and then the decompression of that hatch to meet up with the pressure of the vacuum of space will then equalize before the crew can then egress and begin their day's journey. And there you can see Suni Williams beginning her journey into the crew lock.
I see your HEC is on.
Okay, and I see your green light. We'll just start with buddy check.
Yep.
So I see a green light. You got both your helmet lights are on. That's good. I saw 1, 2, 3 tabs are up. Your safety tethers are in a good config. You've got a waist tether down. The safety tether comes in front of your BRT, so when you push that behind, it's in a good spot.
Yep.
The rest of your tools, like they're in a good spot.
Hey, I see your HECA on. I see 1, 2, 3 tabs up. I see your safety handles are on, which is good.
Yep.
I see your tethers, the tether on your right-hand side. And you are on your MIDI workstation end effector, and I see you are BRT to your large ORU bag as well as tethered.
And can you rotate a little bit? And ISO valve is down, so both your safer handles are down as well.
Yep.
My half is no change. It is dry.
My half is no change and dry.
There you heard great communication between NASA astronauts Nick Hague and Suni Williams as they have exited the Quest airlock and did buddy checks to make sure everything was A-OK before beginning their motions to move across the International Space Station and begin their first planned task of the day, the remove and replace of the rate gyro assembly unit number 2 that helps provide orientation data on the International Space Station. From this field of view, Nick Hague, you can see lightly those red stripes on the top of his backpack. He will be in the now top left part of the screen, and Suni Williams right behind him. She is in the unmarked spacesuit for today's EVA.
Heather, I see if you're in front of me. Okay.
And there's a great look at Expedition 72 Commander Suni Williams with Nick Hague just above her on the truss of the International Space Station, translating across that truss to begin work on the rate gyro assembly unit number 2 replacement.
Okay, getting the lock bag is connected. I'm just getting it off of me.
Copy, Suni. Let me know when you're ready for words for the APFR relocate.
Okay, I'm ready for words.
Just moving the APFR only to WIF 4.
Okay. Got a tether on it.
Copy.
So just the APFR WIF 4, which is the one on the top. Wait. That's the one in the middle. Correct?
WIF 4 is going to be the one on the top it's actually going to be port side of the starboard pseudo cart.
Yep. Port and hop up.
Yeah, A-firm. That's a good read back. And then you're looking for a clocking of 3, and then I have the other settings for you when you're ready.
Clocking of 3. No. There.
Williams just outside the truss system of the International Space Station, continuing to work with that foot restraint. A live look in from the helmet camera of NASA astronaut Suni Williams as she was just communicating with Jessica Whitner, the Spacewalk communicator for today's EVA, on the portable foot restraint. As her and astronaut Nick Hague prepare for the removal and replacement of the rate gyro assembly number 2 on board the orbiting laboratory.
Suni, for you, we're going to have you ingress the S0 truss right there through phase 1 at bay 2 and to access those RGA bolts. And then I have a caution for you not to translate on the radiator heat pipes inside the truss, and then also avoid contact with the Z93 painted surfaces.
Okay, copy that. Coming in. All right, Nick, I'm on the other side, as you can probably see. My hand right on the nadir one when you guys are ready. Go ahead.
And we are ready for you to disconnect.
Over center.
Looks like good release. Over center.
One goes towards me.
Towards you. Yep. A-firm. No, I'm sorry. Away from you. No, you were right. Towards you. I see it moving. It comes straight out. It looks like it's turning sideways a little. Try pulling back on the... No, you got it.
Okay, I see no FOD. That's an EMI band.
Good EMI band.
Let me get down and take a look underneath. Get my head in there. As far as I can tell. Oh, that looks good. No FOD. My band. All looks good on this field.
Good. And I'm going to move down. Okay. Just removing my electrical on that outside. Push that red's right in the way. And see good pins. DMI band. No FOD. Good connector.
Copy. Those are good inspections. So, Nick, if you need to, you can release those TA clamps. If you don't, you just want to restrain the connectors clear of the work site.
And that's enough to do. Perfect. That's good. Great.
Okay, and once that's good, both of you can get out your PGTs, and we'll work to release these bolts.
I'm on the last one.
Yep, I gotta put this PGT away.
Ready for me to continue?
And bye.
And then, Nick, for you, I have a warning. There is a pinch point. You want to keep your fingers clear of the gap between the RGA handle and the truss during RGA removal and install.
I'm not done yet. Ready?
Yep, I'm ready for you to release.
Okay, 11 and 11. Sorry, 12 and...
Sliding out. Okay.
And a great view there of the release of that
Right,
rate gyro assembly number 2 from the view of and perspective of NASA astronaut Suni Williams, who just released that last bolt, and it's currently in the hands of NASA astronaut Nick Hague just across her field of view.
And Suni and Nick, we are go now for the NZGL connection. So again, just looking for a good inspection. And then Suni, if you want to work nadir, that's P678 to J671.
Okay. Good inspection before.
Good inspection on my connector. Pins, no FOD, good EMI band.
Copy, Nick, and you can connect the aft as well. That's P680 to J673.
Copy. Made it over center.
Copy.
Made it over center on the nadir one as well.
Not quite over center.
Copy, and to confirm, the TA clamps are still closed.
The clamps are closed. We're still working on the nadir.
Push that. You can push it from your side?
It's on me.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, you got the moon behind you too. I'm gonna keep moving.
Got it.
This is Mission Control Houston. As you've heard, the first task of today's spacewalk is now complete. The replacement of a failing rate gyro assembly, RGA number 2, has now been replaced with a new healthy unit. That task completed at the 56-minute mark into today's spacewalk. And the Attitude Determination and Control Officer here in Mission Control has been given the go to power up that new unit. Nick Hague and Suni Williams, almost an hour into today's spacewalk, will now stow the old rate gyro assembly back into the airlock before they press ahead to the next pair of tasks, in which they'll split up, with Nick Hague conducting the installation of patches in the nicer telescope payload on the outside of the International Space Station. Suni Williams will be working on the zenith side of the station to replace a planar reflector, one of the navigation tools on the zenith side of the International Docking Adapter, to which the Crew 9 SpaceX Dragon transport vehicle is currently docked.
Copy, Sunny. Can you check that your safer handles are down? I don't think we heard it.
Yep, sorry about that. Okay. Safer handles down.
Copy, Sunny. And before you get moving as well, we'd take a glove and hap check.
Yeah. Left safer handles down. Ups are nominal. Hap is dry.
Just to reset where we're at the 1 hour mark into today's spacewalk, the 273rd, in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. You're hearing the voices of the two crew members outside the station, Nick Hague and Suni Williams, and our spacecraft communicator here in Mission Control, that is astronaut Jessica Whitner.
There you see a great view of NASA astronaut and commander of Expedition 72, Suni Williams, making her way away from the S0 truss, which the rate gyro assembly at number 2 had just been completed, with the remove and replace of the old unit to a new one that has just been approved to be powered on. And then also in that field of view, you see the SpaceX Dragon for Crew 9 off into the distance, as both Suni Williams and Nick Hague will stow the old rate gyro assembly unit here shortly before continuing on with today's planned tasks.
Okay, Nick, where are you right now?
Phase 2 coming down on phase 1. I've got the ORU bag.
Okay. I'm just getting my BRT and my filler bag and the APFR behind me.
Okay.
And I'll start moving.
I see your safety tether.
Okay.
And Sunny, it looks like we lost your HECA again. If you could see if that powered off.
There we go.
And for both of you, good news, RGA-2 is up and running. We had a successful power-up. Nice work.
Excellent. Great.
I am here. I have the pull-out bag is still on the APFR. APFR is installed. I'm on the front of PMA-3 and below Dragon and everything. My head is way below it, so I am ready for the next words.
Copy, Sunny. We're just looking for good words, black on black, full twist test, and the pitch knob can be depressed for the APFR.
Okay, black on black, good pull wiggle test on the APFR. Pitch knob can be depressed, yes.
Okay, thanks for that. You can unbundle your crew lock bag now from the APFR, and you're going to want to stow that on your BRT. And we just want to make sure your BRT is nice and snug and will be away from Dragon when you ingress with the crew lock bag on it.
Great communication between NASA astronaut Suni Williams and astronaut Nick Hague with the ground team here inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room as they continue to prepare themselves for the second task of today's EVA. The view you see here is of Suni Williams as she prepares herself for the planar reflector remove and replace. And you heard that communication, making sure that she is properly tethered and safely attached to the International Space Station.
Yes, I have the crew lock bag on me. I actually have both of the adjustables on my mini workstation to sort of keep it away from everything floating around as well. So, should stay away next to my left side. Are we ready for some pictures?
Okay, Suni, that's a good config with your bag, and we are go for photos.
Okay. Remind me exactly what you want.
Yeah, we want, jokingly, everything there. We're going to look for the visible Dragon surfaces, the planar and Hemi reflectors, best effort on those because they're kind of under the nose cone, the IDA and PMA hardware, and then anywhere else you see any of that contamination.
A great view of astronaut Suni Williams as she continues to prepare for the removal and replacement of the planar reflector just outside of the zenith port of the Harmony module. That is the space-facing port that is currently occupied by a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft that brought Crew 9 aboard the International Space Station. That occurred back in late September, but the planar reflector is right there just a few bits of distance away from that spacecraft, in which Suni Williams will release 3 different bolts and actually replace the actual reflective portion of it all that both the Dragon and other visiting vehicles use on approach and docking to the International Space Station. And you can see the planar reflector jutting out from that docking port. It's just off to the left edge of that screen, that silver brace with the black component right on top of it. That'll be the component that you will be working on. And again, that is to help with a multitude of communications devices for visiting vehicles to use as a reflector to gain insight on the rate of closure and distance as they approach the International Space Station.
Give me a second. Try not to touch anything.
I hear you.
Yeah, Suni, no rush on anything. Again, we're still looking great on time, so feel free to take a break as needed.
As astronauts Suni Williams and Nick Hague prepare for their second task of the EVA, you can see that the International Space Station has transitioned into an orbital nighttime, currently traversing across Kazakhstan.
A little bit of a constraint problem.
All of this happening as we approach an hour and 48 minutes into today's spacewalk. Williams, you see here, she is removing and replacing and beginning the planar reflector replacement as she is just outside the zenith port of the Harmony module, which just off on the left-hand side of the screen, you see the Dragon spacecraft of Crew 9.
Get my left one in.
All right, Suni, just to confirm for us, just wiggle around the APFR, make sure we're good and locked in place.
I'm locked in place, yep.
Yeah, nice work. That was a hard work site to ingress, so nice job. With that, we'll position your BRT now and that crew lock bag access while maintaining clearance to Dragon. and then we'll start getting the EVA wipe with the ret out of the acrylic bag.
Suni Williams, NASA astronaut, commander of Expedition 72 on the removal and replacement of the planar reflector. Nicole McElroy and her Vista flight team, the Spacewalk flight director for today. And you heard Jessica Whitner, the Spacewalk communicator, relaying the information up to Suni Williams.
And Suni, we just want to confirm, do you have one turn now on all 3 bolts, or is there one bolt that's still causing issues?
It's just far away, so I haven't been putting my hand on it too far, but I got it to get looser, the one that's closest to dragging, and I'm just worried about, leaning in too far. I got it to move. To stay away, can I just use the ratchet?
And Suni, we're checking.
I'm choked up on it. I'm not super all the way out at the end of the ratchet. You got it to move.
Copy, Suni. We just want you to stand by 1 second. We have your heck of you back now, and just give us a second to talk over the use of the ratchet. Suni, you have a go now to do what you were talking about earlier. So you can use the ratchet wrench. You just choke up on it like you were as much as possible, and put as little force as you need to actually get that bolt to move, and we're still just looking to get to 1 turn on each bolt.
So I think I have 1 turn for sure on this forward bolt. No, I do. The aft bolt, let me just like a half a turn more. There we go. And the inner bolt, get like a 3/4 there. I just got it to get loose. Okay, I got like turn on each. You see space. The aft one, I'm not leaning in there, or the one farthest away from me, I'm not leaning in there, but it definitely turned.
Copy, Suni. That is good words. With that, we are go to continue to release these bolts. So you can release by hand the bolts until they pop out. We expect them to pop out after 8 turns. So if you want to get all to 8 and then turn each one 1 turn until they pop out, you can do that, or you can do each one individually.
All released.
Awesome. I see it released.
12 all around. Nice job.
Copy. Nice work. We're going to stow that in the EVA wipe and then pin that back to the crew left bag.
On the right-hand side of your screen, you see NASA astronaut commander of Expedition 72, Suni Williams, working on the planar reflector. You heard communications between her and the ground team here at the International Space Station Flight Control Room in Houston that those 3 bolts were popping and starting to come out of place, in which that would allow her to remove the current planar reflector that has been contaminated and limiting its reflectivity. You can see that the space where it was is just right above her right hand. Those 3 bolts have been removed, and now we'll be able to replace it with a new piece that will allow for greater communications between visiting vehicles as they approach and dock with the International Space Station.
And Suni, I know you're working crew lock bag ops right now still, but when you have a natural break, we will get a glove and hap check from you.
Okay. Gloves are nominal. Hap is dry.
Copy, glove and hap.
We continue to follow along with today's coverage of US EVA-91, and you are seeing the view from the helmet camera and now an exterior camera on the International Space Station as Commander of Expedition 72, Suni Williams, is attaching the replacement of the planar reflector just outside of the zenith port of the Harmony module. And that helmet camera of Williams right now, she's tightening up the bolts, the 3 bolts that will secure the new planar reflector to its attachment just outside the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft, the Crew 9 spacecraft, and there you see a fantastic view of the upcoming orbital sunrise that will soon make its way over top of the International Space Station.
3 turns on the forward, 3.5 turns on the forward. With the one that's inboard most, can I try to use the ratchet just because it's far for me, and I feel like I'm putting a side load by putting my hand over there? Have the other 2 down at least 3 turns. 3 on the front, 4 on the aft.
And copy, Sunny. We're good with your recommendation if you need to use the ratchet wrench very lightly like you did before. And if that works, you can.
Try the inboard one. Inboard one I could turn about a half a turn, then it gets sort of stiff. It's on here solidly. The only problem is it has the ability to move up and down a little bit because its bolts aren't flush all the way down.
Yeah, copy, Sunny. I see that it kind of moves up and down a little bit in your HECA view, so stand by. We're talking it with the MER.
So as you can see it in my HECA, now this doesn't move.
Yeah, that's good words, and we see it, and it is a good install. Backroom's happy as well, so we are good to clean up. So we will, when you're ready, release that ret and attach it to the tape cover, and then you can remove the tape cover from the spare reflector.
Okay, it is being removed right now. It's off.
Awesome. You can tend all that back to the crew lock bag, and then we'll get your camera out to take some photos.
You heard great words from both the ground teams here in Mission Control Houston at the International Space Station Flight Control Room and astronaut Suni Williams on the successful installation of the replacement of the planar reflector. The original was contaminated, and it has since been unbolted and replaced with a new unit, in which you see from the viewpoint of an external camera aboard the International Space Station of Suni Williams now taking pictures of the work site.
Okay, I'm back on 1616.
Copy, Sunny. At this point, we'll take a inventory of your crew lock bag, and you can put it in the HECA if you can.
On the outside of the crew lock bag, I have integrated sets as well as a large, small adjustable. I open everything up so you can see it.
Sunny, there was another TA clamp up and to the right of that right handrail that was kind of in your HECA view earlier that looked like it was loose or disconnected.
I'm looking. One over here.
Yeah, Sunny, that looks like the one.
Okay, it's close.
All right, Sunny, we're going to track that as a get-ahead completed. And so with that, you can start your translation back to the starboard seat of cart.
On my way.
What are you doing? Get ahead? Overachiever.
And Sunny, I have a verify step while you're moving. Just verify that your tethers clear the CBM pedals and other PMA hardware as you're transitioning back inboard. And then you also have that green hook location on the lab that you want to pick up.
We're watching live NASA Plus coverage of US EVA-91, currently underway with NASA astronaut and commander of Expedition 72, Suni Williams, and NASA astronaut Nick Hague. This view coming from the helmet camera of Suni Williams. She just recently completed one of a handful of tasks for today, and she just recently did the removal and replacement of the planar reflector, just alongside an international docking adapter, the zenith or space-facing side of the Harmony module. And in those fields of view, you saw that the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft was right within reach, and that spacecraft belonging to Crew 9, who arrived on station back in September. So now Suni will be joining NASA astronaut Nick Hague in preparation for preparing the alpha magnetic spectrometer for future upgrades. And what they will do once they arrive to that payload, it's a particle physics detector that looks for dark matter and antimatter and missing matter from a module attached just to the outside of the International Space Station. And this is the first of several planned upgrades for this spectrometer, and that'll include upgrading the additional radiators for heat rejection and a silicon tracker layer that'll also significantly increase the data acceptance of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, or AMS, as you're hearing over the communications between the two astronauts and the ground teams here inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room.
Just right there.
Yeah.
Right there. There's a bigger hole to his...
He opens up if I go a little bit more. Yeah.
You could slide into that place where you can just feel those connectors.
Yeah.
Okay, copy those words. We are tracking now, and Sunny, just for your sake, we just lost your HECA as well.
An expected transfer of communications currently ongoing, as you see live views and some smiles here inside of Mission Control Center and the International Space Station Flight Control Room, as Jessica Whitner, the one in the middle of your screen there, relaying information up to Suni Williams and Nick Hague, the two NASA astronauts participating in today's spacewalk. Just over 4 hours and 15 minutes into US EVA number 91, as the two, both Hague and Williams, continuing to showcase teamwork in working on the job site of the alpha magnetic spectrometer and reviewing the patch panels for future upgrades and future EVAs.
I'm just trying to get some overall.
Yeah, I was trying to pull the crew lock bag out of the way.
Back in the way a little bit.
Yeah.
Great communications between the teams on the ground here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, up to NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Nick Hague as they continue to progress along their EVA today, US EVA number 91, in which they are approaching 4 hours and 39 minutes into this EVA. You heard spacewalk communicator Jessica Whitner, NASA astronaut, relay up to the crew that they are about an hour ahead of schedule. So they have additional tasks that are available for the astronauts to perform, one being additional photography and work around the alpha magnetic spectrometer, which is the task they are currently working on at the moment, in which they were looking at patch panels and beta claws, removing ties, and essentially looking over the job site and taking inventory of what can be done for future upgrades of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. But the team also relayed information about taking additional photography of MMOD, or a micrometeoroid debris strike, that has no effect on the performance of the alpha magnetic spectrometer or any areas of the International Space Station, but they had noted that in the journey of the astronauts today, crossing paths over the International Space Station, and would like additional photography, and then also for them to both address the APFR, or the articulating portable foot restraint, that was addressed earlier today by NASA astronaut Suni Williams, as they had a couple of pieces on that APFR, again, the articulating portable foot restraint, that were stuck and unusable at the time before moving on to future tasks. So again, approaching 4 hours and just over 40 minutes now of today's EVA with NASA astronaut Suni Williams and Nick Hague.
I'm just looking at your tab.
You see it?
Right tabs up. Left tabs are up. Looking good.
Okay.
The two NASA astronauts have reached their next task for today's EVA, and that is the articulating portable foot restraint that they're looking to get unstuck, if you will, from what they experienced earlier in the EVA, but played no factor in their completing tasks. But with the available time, both Suni Williams and Nick Hague, NASA astronauts, working in tandem to free up this portable foot restraint.
You're
I'm tethered to
All
it,
right.
so it's fine.
okay.
All right, we see it out. So,
Now we want to put
yeah, one of you guys are going to
the tether.
hold that, and then the other one,
You?
we're going to look to pull the APFR out of with 4 and into the with X.
And right on cue, getting reports of a good release of that articulating portable foot restraint as Suni Williams and Nick Hague continue to work together.
That.
Let's tap this side.
You go first.
All right, Nick, Sunny, I got some big picture for you when you're ready.
I'll lead us back. We are ready.
All right, Nick, you had it right. You're going to be leading back to the airlock. Big picture, we're going to head back to the airlock and stow the bags. Nick, you're going to pick up that crew lock bag 1 and stow that on your BRT, or you can tend it if you just want to tend it down the seat of spur, either way. And then we're going to clean up. We're going to put all the bags and tools back in the airlock secured. And then we'd like to hear your thoughts because we do still have some time available. We're about still, say, 45 minutes or so up on time. So thoughts on doing the ammonia line imagery task. And with regards to APFR, the Z1 would be the APFR that we'd look to go for.
That seems reasonable. Everything buttoned back into the airlock.
Yeah.
And then let's see how much time we've got left and go from there.
Okay.
Okay, yep, that sounds good.
Okay, I'm at 7107. Signator. See the cupola.
Copy, Sunny. If you've identified the MLI covering...
It's coming up right in my face.
If you... Yep, we're waiting for...
Yep.
Yeah, there's sunrise. We want you to identify that MLI covering the aftmost connector bank on node 3, on the node 3 starboard in cone, and then you're going to photograph and scan the MLI from the aft side looking forward.
I'm just taking orthogonal pictures, like between, for example, the Cygnus pedals and these lines, correct? So you can see the distance between the two?
Yeah, A-firm. If you're capturing Cygnus and the connector bank on node 3 and the cables in between that, then you are hitting that area of interest.
Okay, very good. What's next?
Okay, Sunny, the next location is going to be translating over to node 3, handrail 0619, and that's going to be zenith from where you're at right now, and then across the two gap spanners, the two diagonal gap spanners to node 3, and then at that lower gap spanner, you should find handrail 0619.
Hey, Jess, I'm at 0619.
Copy from 0619, Sunny. You're going to photograph that MLI again, and then capturing the entire length of the MLI and the surrounding modules.
I think I'm complete here as well.
Copy, Sunny. With that, we're complete with our ammonia line imagery, so you can restow the camera and then start your translation back to the airlock as well. With the tethers, we see Nick leading back, but he should be in front of you.
Okay.
Continuing our live coverage of today's U.S. EVA number 91, as you heard from the ground and Spacewalk communicator Jessica Whitner, that the additional tasks assigned for NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Suni Williams have been completed. For Suni, taking imagery or photos of an ammonia line, and for Nick Hague to evaluate an articulating portable foot restraint aboard the International Space Station. Approaching now 5 hours and 42 minutes of EVA time. That got underway at 7:01 a.m. Central Time, 8:01 a.m. Eastern. The team has been working efficiently and cruising right through their assigned tasks. They had 4 major ones for today, including the replacing of a rate gyro assembly as the top task, removing and replacing a planar reflector for communications for visiting vehicles, patching up a damaged portion of the nicer X-ray telescope to allow for that to be fully operational once again, and then assessing the work site and potential for future upgrades to the alpha magnetic spectrometer. And as mentioned, the additional tasks they were able to squeeze in because of their efficiency throughout the day today were to take imagery of that ammonia line on the Unity module and evaluate an articulating portable foot restraint.
Waste is in.
And there's an excellent view from the helmet camera of NASA astronaut Suni Williams as you're seeing them start to re-enter the Quest airlock and the crew lock portion of the International Space Station after completing a multitude of tasks outside of the orbiting laboratory. You can see at the feet of Williams, Nick Hague backing in to place. They were talking over their tethering configurations on how to make sure that they are properly attached and safely attached to the International Space Station. And there you see the beautiful views of the hatch opening. Don Pettit and Butch Wilmore ready to welcome back inside the equipment lock Nick Hague and Suni Williams with some happy hugs as they make their way back inside the orbiting laboratory. That is Commander of Expedition 72, Suni Williams, entering in first. And there you see the top of her helmet, and then just past that, you see the feet up above the top of that crew lock belonging to astronaut Nick Hague.
We're still seeing no pain.
Continuing to monitor the ingress of astronauts Suni Williams and Nick Hague as they have returned from outside the International Space Station for U.S. Spacewalk number 91. Suni Williams right there in the foreground, and Hague out in the background. You see his feet floating towards the top of the crew lock as they enter and get assistance from their internal support team of NASA astronauts Don Pettit and Butch Wilmore. Right now they're taking off the safer units on the backside of Williams's uniform. Those are the simplified aid for EVA rescue should they have needed them for additional safety assurance outside of the International Space Station. That provides them stability, thrust, and maneuverability should they become untethered. So as they adjust for Suni and they will make sure that they have everything squared away before reattaching her to the equipment lock. EVA-91 starting to wind down as NASA Astronaut Commander of Expedition 72 Suni Williams has the first one to enter the equipment lock. And her colleagues, NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore on the right side, Don Pettit on the near ground, assisting Williams back up on the rack and inside the equipment lock. And astronaut Nick Hague, who joined Williams for an exactly 6-hour spacewalk today, awaits his turn inside the crew lock just through that lidded framework. You can see his feet and those red stripes so faintly floating before he can make his return inside the International Space Station as well. And again, this was the 8th spacewalk for Williams, the 4th for Nick Hague. Bringing up their overall totals for Hague, 25 hours and 56 minutes out in the vacuum of space. And for Williams, now 56 hours and 40 minutes in support of the International Space Station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. We'll continue our coverage and keep things here right on NASA Plus as we watch the two astronauts return inside the space station and make sure that all systems are good with those two. And of course, we'll recap today's events as teamwork on display for both Hague and Williams, the team inside the International Space Station and the teams here inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room, and many more on the ground supporting today's EVA that saw the accomplishment of 4 key tasks as well as 2 additional tasks thanks to the efficiency of all those involved during today's spacewalk. And there you saw the removal of the safer unit on the backside of the spacesuit of Nick Hague. Hague on the right with the red stripes towards the top of that backpack-like structure of his suit. And Suni Williams just across the way of the equipment lock inside of the Quest airlock of the International Space Station. Great to see those congratulatory handshakes and hugs for the two astronauts after completing a 6-hour spacewalk today, US EVA number 91. in which they were able to remove and replace a rate gyro assembly, the number 2 unit that helps measure the International Space Station's vehicle motion, and also the rotational rate, and provide that data for better calculate orientation of the orbiting laboratory. They would then go on to remove and replace a planar reflector that was on the zenith side of the Harmony International docking adapter. That would be the spacing side of that port, to help with the communications for visiting vehicles for their approach to and docking procedures connecting with the orbiting laboratory. And then the two would then move on to install patches for the damaged NICER X-ray telescope, the Neutron Star Interior Composition Explorer. And then the two would move on to the alpha magnetic spectrometer setup to look out for future EVA opportunities, preparatory tasks to upgrade the alpha magnetic spectrometer, or AMS. And with that efficiency and the teamwork of those two and their guidance and teammates inside the International Space Station and those on the ground, they had extra time and were given additional tasks in which they were able to complete imagery of an ammonia line on the Unity module and pick up those photos for future use, as well as take a look and evaluate an articulating portable foot restraint unit also on the outside of the International Space Station. Now you are looking inside the equipment lock, the crew lock just past them, where both Nick Hague on the right side, Suni Williams on the left, would re-enter the International Space Station and are now being assisted back onto the racks by their internal support team of astronauts, NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Don Pettit.
Alec Houston, Don, if you can see it on your right, if you look below, downwards, there was a battery pack that was floating downwards. Good catch.
This is Mission Control Houston. As you can see from inside the Quest airlock, the helmets and gloves have been removed from NASA astronaut Suni Williams. That'll do it for our coverage today. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying with us for this 6-hour EVA, a successful one and a good day to go for a walk outside.
The hatch is closed and locked, and the lock latch is indicating locked.